Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our webinar of this morning, a webinar that will tell you everything about how CEN-TC442 can support the digitalization of data in design and product standards. My name is Els, and I will be moderating the webinar in the background. As usual, you're all muted. You cannot speak out loud during the presentations, but you do have the possibility to submit your questions via the Q&A panel. If I'm not mistaken, on the next slide, I explain you what the panel looks like. So please use that box to submit your questions. The speakers will try to reply as many questions as possible, but should your question remain unreplied during the presentations, please note that we will make a Q&A report available afterwards that we will share with you. The webinar has been recorded, so we will provide you also with the recording and the complete slideshow afterwards. For sure. Should you be on X, Blue Sky, or LinkedIn, please feel free to talk about the topic with the hashtag training for standards. That would be nice, and we can share the word. So without further ado, I think we can go on the next slide where I can present you the agenda of today. We have first a general information on BIM and the scope of TC442 by the chair of that TC, Oivind Rooth. And then we go further with the standards map that will be presented by Stepanka Tomanova from UNMZ, which is a Czech member of CEN-CENELEC. Espen Schulze will go over the construction products regulation for you. And then we have the pleasure to have with us 3 experts that will present you use cases of the TC442 standards. So I would like to give the floor to the first speaker now. Oivind Rooth, the chair of the TC, is here for you to introduce you the topic. Oh yes, this slide, of course, is providing you with a glossary, so an overview of all the abbreviations that you will see throughout this presentation. It's just there for your reference, so if you receive the presentation later today, you have this overview with you should some of the abbreviations be unknown to you. So Oivind, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, welcome everyone to this webinar from CEN-TC442. We are, first a little bit on myself, Oivind Rooth. I'm a chairperson of the CEN-TC442. I've been there, it's in the start. And I'm a special director of the Norwegian Building Authority as my day job. Let's see here. Yeah. CEN-TC442 Building Information Modeling. We have actually 10 years anniversary this year. We had our first meeting in 2015. After 1 year discussing the scope, I will just present a little. This building information modeling is, or BIM, BIM. It can be defined in many ways out there, model, management, everything. But for CEN-TC442 and BIM, it's the scope that's matter. And we are making standards, reports, specification that for the whole life cycle of the built environment. So it's about the construction ecosystem, as they call it, in the whole lifespan, infrastructure, buildings, everything. And what we do is that we specify methodologies for how to digitalize the construction ecosystem. In practice, this is what we do. So when you want to digitalize something in the construction ecosystem, CEN-TC442 will support you with the standards you need. And seems to be a little delay. Yeah, here we are. Okay. So the structure of the 442, I will not spend so much time on this, but we are still growing. We have, and today we have this working group 7 that has a horizontal role because the technical board had identified CEN-TC442 as some kind have a horizontal role in the scope. And working group 7 is established to support that horizontal role in Europe in within CEN. So it's working group 7 that is responsible for this webinar today. So thank you to Ursula and Rola Dominici for setting up this webinar today. We have also a work group 10 that work with strategy and planning, try to understand everything happening around us and give advice to the 442 plenary, what to do and what not to do maybe. And then we have a more technical definition working group. And the newest one, which will be presented today, is also the working group 12, that is mostly dealing with connection to the new CPR and so on. And then, yeah. Digitalization of the construction ecosystem. I will just take a little bit overview why we are here and how we are connected to what they do in the European EU Commission and EU at the moment. There is a very slow delay here.
Could you request the control, Oivind?
Yeah, I have the control, but it's yes. So as I said, building information modeling, BIM, is a method to support digitalization in the construction industry. And what we do is to customize and to see how this fits to the, so please press the button. Yes, the main goal here in EU, I have heard for a long time, that we have climate, nature, economic growth is, we need growth for all is the main goal for the European Union. And next, please. They have made some strategies. Two of them is the new Green Deal, the high level, and the circular economy action plan, as you have heard about. Please, next. And from this, they have made several regulation, and ESPR, or the Eco Design, is one of them. Next, please. And then we have this construction ecosystem that is defined. They have defined the construction is one of the important players if they want to receive the high-level goal. Inside this, they have this renovation wave. That is a strategy of what they should do with the construction sector, because it's focused on the renovation, because most of it is built already. And they have recognized that the construction ecosystem need to be digitalized. So this is called a twin strategy. They need to action to do on the practical side, but you also need to digitalize the system. Under this, you have two main projects, the digital building logbook and the digital building permit to speed up. Next, please. And from ESPR, we also have this construction product regulation. It's not from ESPR, but it's connected. And during this next, yes, you have this construction product digital product passport, as you have heard about. So it's all connected. And from this tree, we see that they should be digitalized, and the method is using the BIM standards. And next, please. And the goal is then a digitalized construction ecosystem supporting the high-level goal. Next, please. And then we also collaborate with the ESPR working group, CEN-CENELEC, JTC24, that building up the horizontal system for digital product passport. And this is also connected. So we are well connected to support, because they are building the horizontal system for all industries. We have the data in practical for the construction ecosystem, and this is connected. Next, please. Yeah. So this is well connected. So what we do today is that just focus on at 10 TC442, we make standards how to digitalize. The CEN-TCs make product and design standards, and the industry produce digital information based on this standard. And then we have the digital product passport and other processes that is digitalized. Next, please. Yes. So the topic for today's webinar is that the interaction between CEN-TC442 and the other CEN-TCs. So I think that's in my presentation.
Okay, so Stepanka, I give you the floor for to present the standards for TC442 standards mapping.
Okay, thank you for the speech and welcome everybody. And my name is Stepanka Tomanova. I am from Czech Republic and working mainly for Czech Standardization Agency. Next, please. And my task today is to introduce you what we are working on in TC442, and because we are all trying to get to the digital world, I think we are all thinking about two main topics. One is about data, how to create them and use them. And the second topic is how we can integrate digital technologies into our processes, because everybody from us has its own habits and knowledge and everything. And I think we will still use them. We will not change them much, but we need to transform to the digital world. And this was the reason why we made the standards map, because we are talking about all these topics and we want to integrate them together, and we want to explain why we make our documents and our technical standards. And we want to enable you to orient in the all topics we are working on. And of course, we need you. So we need to create an open approach to connect everything together, because in the digital world, everything is connected together more and more. And this was the reason why we made our standards map. It means, next please, it's the list of our documents, and we divided them into several groups or maybe topics. It means we divided them what is connected to the processes, to the data itself, to the use cases, and you see all our groups and things on the right side. And in addition, our map is divided into the colors, you see, and shapes, because we think that it's important to talk not only about the published documents, but as well ongoing projects. So we added them to the map, and they have its own shape. Of course, in the map you will see the legend, so you will know what the colors and shapes means. And today you will hear more about three main topics: data templates, products, and dictionaries. And as I said, everything is interconnected in the digital world. So we are continuously adding other projects which are connected to our standards and which are using the part of our standards. Next, please. And if you want to use our map, you will see the different shapes. You can click on them, and then you will get the more detailed description, which will cover the scope, when you can use, in which part of the life cycle you can use the document, and for who it is dedicated. And on the right side, in the top, you will see the legend, what the colors and shapes are meaning. Next, please. And if you want to use this map and you want to follow what we are doing in the TC442, you can find it on the CEN-CENELEC pages, which is dedicated to the construction part. And you see the link to the map. And because we wanted to publish it on this web page, we wanted to find the simplest way how to do it. And it means that the map is in the Excel sheet and you can download it. It will be continuously updated. It means, let's say, each half of the year. So you can follow how the projects are developing, what is already published, and what you can use, and you can connect us and cooperate on our projects. That's all. Thank you, and I will
Thank you, Stepanka.
the speech back. Thank you.
Okay, so now is the turn for Espen Schulze to present a technical feedback with the construction product regulation and how it connects with working groups from TC442.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone joining today. Good that you can come and listen to this topic, which we think is very important. My name is Espen Schulze. I work in a Norwegian software company called CoBuilder, leading the research work there. Spending much of my time is outside in standardization, mainly in CEN-TC442, but also on ISO level, TC59, the BIM standardization there. And I'm leading 3 projects now in CEN-TC442 related to the things I will talk about in this presentation. First, I would like to connect CEN-TC442 and some of these standards of today. I want to connect that to the new construction product regulation. I think it's important for us to know and see the link that has been established from the European Commission side, that they have found digitalization, machine readable formats, and in general the digitalization to be needed to get through the conditions in the CPR. And they have also established the term common data dictionary to be needed to hold the definitions and descriptions of all construction products. Next, please. Also, the CPR has adopted the concept of digital product passport from the Eco Design for a Sustainable Product Regulation, ESPR. In some time, all construction products covered by harmonized technical specifications will need to have a digital product passport. And also the sentence in yellow here, which again is important to understand for us, the industry, is that they are requiring interoperability with building information modeling. So that is good news for the work we do in CEN-TC442. And these standards are the ones that are closest to that topic in the CPR. We have been developing standards through 10 years now on this topic, data dictionaries and data templates. The 3 ones on top here, I like to call them the horizontal technical framework for data dictionaries and data templates. And the ones on the bottom here, they are implementations standards that will support to create semantics content in data dictionaries. And I will explain a little bit more what these are all about. As mentioned by Oivind, we have a horizontal working group in TC442, which has a horizontal role where we will and can and are consulting other technical committees in Europe, in CEN, on how they can adopt the standards that we are developing. Standards that supports digitalization and how these standards can have an impact on how the standards are created in the future. For instance, so in this case, we are developing, we call it internally a guideline. It's a methodology for CEN TCs, both design standards and product standards, to make the conditions and the requirements, the shalls, the should and may, these things, make them digital. And we want this to be available in data dictionaries. Data dictionaries is open, will be open for the industry. The point here is to define something once. For instance, requirements through properties for products should be defined from the CEN TCs. And be made available in data dictionaries, which then, as I said, will be available for software, external software. We have been, if you go a little bit back again, sorry, Ursula. So what we have done, we have been providing a table. We have been working in tables. And the outcome is for the CEN TCs per today is to provide inputs, their knowledge in form of, for instance, properties into this table. So that's the outcome of this guideline. So we try to keep this as simple as possible, not to go too technical in this guideline. Next, please. This is a list of the standards that relates to the CEN TCs. So the guideline is here in pink, almost on the top there. The other standards below, they are the technical framework for supporting these standards. The one on the top here, then we're going back to the CPR and digital product passports. So this standard is kind of the connection here between data dictionaries, data templates, and the standards we have developed in CEN TC442, and the declaration of performance and conformity as a symbol on the right here. Which is part of the upcoming digital product passport for construction products. Next, please. So here you can see the content for DPPs for construction products. There are some documents required. There's a data carrier, some unique identifiers, and we are focusing in TC442 on the data part here, the DoPC. Which holds the performance data of construction products. Yes, that was my presentation, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Espen. So we will start with the TC's use cases with TC33. Dr. Kai Oberste-Ufer.
Yes. Hello and welcome everyone. From my side, Kai Oberste-Ufer, my name. I'm here as a representative of TC33 working group 4TG18, which is the TC dealing with doors and window shutters, building hardware, and curtain walling. So I'm also part of working group 7 and working group 12 in CEN TC442, but also connected there. I would like to share how a technical TC, a use case TC, is connected with the work of TC442. So the TC33, the door and window, the technical thing, it has a history. So it started its work in a European organization called AGA. This is an umbrella organization for building hardware, looking at doors and windows. And in this group, you see it on the right side, in this organization, there was a group established for digitization, working with BIM properties. So at some point we said, okay, it made probably sense to lift this endeavor, to lift this project to create properties, BIM properties for door and window hardware on a higher level, so bringing it to CEN. And since CEN TC33 was or is the home of this product domain, we were thinking about how can we get the property, how can we get the objective to create and talk about BIM properties into this TC. And we decided to create in TC33 under working group 4, you see it on the left side, an own TG, namely TG18, called BIM. And its goal is to define guideline and description of door and windows hardware products in BIM. By the way, this project has been created a few years already in the past. So things like the DPP and the status of the 23387 work has not been so developed and was not so present. So our initial goal was to create BIM properties. Next slide, please. How is it organized? In TC, you see on the left side, we have the TC33, the overarching TC, of course, and beyond that, below that, we have a couple of working groups, all looking at different aspects of doors and windows. And our my working group is working group for building hardware. And below that, we have the different columns, the different types of TGs for different product types, locks, latches, door closing, hinges, and so on. And here you see below on the with the yellow exclamation mark, we have the TG18, which is a dedicated group for BIM. And in this group, there have been several working groups founded, kind of homework group, expert groups, all mirroring the structure of the TGs. So we have BIM working groups for door closers, we have BIM working groups for hinges, all consist of experts coming from the different TGs. So the TC33 decided to give the task to work on BIM to each working group. So the approach here was not to create an overarching digitization BIM group in the TC, but every working group should look at it on its own. Next one. Okay. So what is the goal of the BIM working group here? So first of all, it's to create a technical specification on the basis of EN ISO 23386, which defines how properties should be collected and stored. So this is the basis that the work here can be later on used also in other projects and other systems so far. So technical specification is one goal for BIM properties for door and window hardware. Second, an attachment to this technical specification with a property collection. So this is really the usable format. So we would like to create an Excel sheet, and maybe step 2, since Excel is the only thing we have at the moment. Step 2, then later on, we are aiming to bring these properties into kind of European dictionary of door and window hardware, whatever that means. At the moment, there is no real answer how we can handle this, what will be used here. But the goal, of course, is to bring these properties into some higher level organization and technical framework. Maybe looking at the DPP and maybe also looking at what the JTC24 is doing here in terms of the DPP technical system. So a common dictionary at the moment is missing, but there is a lot of things going on towards global unified, at least system of dictionaries in Europe. And both CEN documents will be at disposal of all BIM stakeholders. So it should be shared. It should be part of the standard and regulations developed in TC33. Next one, please. This is an example of how the practical work is done. So for those of you who know the 23386 standard, it consists of a group of properties or of properties for groups. So it's the grouping that needs to be described, and the properties as well. For both, a couple of attributes are defined, and we developed an Excel sheet that holds all these fields. So there are 20 fields for the groups and roughly 40 fields, 40 attributes for the properties itself. Not everything needs to be filled out here, so we tried to get a good practical way in between covering everything that is needed and between practical work that needs to be done. And this is also a part where we heavily connect with working group 7. Oh no, with TC. With working group 7, we're from TC442, because also here there are properties defined how to create standards, how to digitize standards, and that's where we are aligned, where we as working group 7 and TC33 aligned, first of all, on how to identify gaps and touch points. So what is done in TC33, what is done in working group 7, since both projects have a kind of different approach, but somehow are similar, we need first to align where are gaps and to prepare everyone. So this is where TC442 helps TC33 to be future ready, to be future proof when it comes to collect properties in order to put it later in the process that is currently established. So there is still also an open discussion on how to enable other working groups in TC33 to work on properties. I said at the moment, yes, it was decided that every working group should create its own BIM group, but it's still open. So other TCs might do it differently. Other working groups might see it differently. There is an ongoing discussion. How should we on CEN level handle the digitization of properties in these TCs? It's an open discussion, still not solved. And of course, looking at the future, we would like to help TC to go from BIM properties, that's what it started, into a field of more relevant properties related to the digital product passport, digital standards, that what working group 7 is talking about. So moving away from, we just collect a bunch of properties into a more formalized way of working. You see a lot of standards, especially for TC, especially in TC33, the 23386 is relevant. So I think we are very good prepared here, but cannot do our work alone. That's why it's important to align all the technical TCs with the TC442 and its working groups below that.
Thank you.
Next one, please. I think that's all.
Yes, that's the end. Okay, thank you, Kai. So now is the use case from TC 169, Light and Lightning. Robert Heinze will present his case.
Yes, hello, my name is Robert Heinze. I'm from Germany. At the moment, I'm the CTO at Relux, but I'm heavily in standardization in light and lighting. So I'm representing here the CEN-TC 169, but also the ISO TC 274. So these are the lighting standardization world. And we are connected heavily with BIM. And this I will show you on the next slide. Yeah, we had the issue, even without BIM or digitalization, that we have properties which are not united between our manufacturers. So we have a couple of luminaire manufacturers and system manufacturers in light and lighting. And they're using a lot of properties, of course, because light and luminaires are used in digital environments. But we are not agreed on common properties. So some manufacturers name things other than other manufacturers, especially if it comes to international markets, so different languages and so on. And this is one pain point we needed to solve. And this is great that we have BIM and that we have 442 with the standards, to help us solving this issue. And of course, we need experts to do this. And this is something which is different between 442 and the specific building discipline TCs like light and lighting or doors. That we have the experts, that we know the properties. Yeah, exactly. And on this slide, you can see my favorite BIM standard. This is the 23386. This is the standard dealing with properties. You have heard it already in Kai's presentation and in Espen's presentation. This is a standard about properties. So, and property about properties. So, what kind of properties a property has. This is interesting. So, and we have here a list of, I guess it was 30 or 40 properties, which a property has. We call it attributes of properties. So a property has a name, an ID, and type, and an example, and so on. And this is the base for our lighting properties. So next slide, please. Yeah, as said, we need experts to deal this, and we have done it. So we started on the association level. In the German association, there's also an European association with a lot of connections, of course. And we started just to enlist all the properties we are knowing from luminaires, and this is done to classification systems, local PIM systems, also standards, of course. There are a lot of lighting standards, which are a lot of properties. We gather them all together with no prioritization. This is important. We had a lot of discussions in our group. Is it an important property? Is it more important than another one? Depending on the use cases, and we decided not to go in priorities and not to go in use cases. We just collect, we not invent new properties, we just collect what is existing, what is in use on designer levels, on architectural levels, and so on. And we just gather and give this list, or we delete all duplications, of course, and then we give them IDs. And this is the basic job you need to do. And yeah, and BIM standardization can help you. Next slide, please. Yeah, and this is the result of our work. We jumped from association level into the CEN level with more experts as just on the association level, and also with more structure and with more rules, and also other publication forms, as you sure know. And we created the CEN-TC 17623. This was more or less a large table with around 400 properties. Following the structure of the BIM EN ISO 23386, and filling just the table up with properties we have on our lighting systems, sensors, luminaires, everything which is dealing with light and lighting, and unified the naming, the namespace, if you like, and also unified the description, and where it's possible, we connected it to an existing standard. So most of this is connected to existing ones. And later on, we jumped onto the ISO level and also make an ISO and CEN ISO at the moment out of this as a technical specification. This was fast, this was easy. There were a lot of global experts on the ISO level, filling up the missing properties. And now we have something what I like to name a mapping core between requesters of data and providers of data. So if you are a manufacturer, you can provide your data with the IDs, with the naming, for properties which the other side, the receptor of the data, is also understanding. You can easily connect, and you don't need to deliver specifications with it. Next slide, please. It's the last class. Okay, then thank you much for your attention. See you. Bye.
Thank you, Robert. So now will be the turn to Etienne Caillot. He is head of smart standards in AFNOR Group. Please, Etienne, you have the floor.
Thank you, Ursula. Hello, everyone. As Ursula said, my name is Etienne Caillot. I'm in charge of smart standards within AFNOR. And you may wonder why we do have that topic here within that webinar. So just to introduce that, you can go to the next slide, Ursula, if you wish. Just like the construction industry, standardization has started its own digital digital transformation journey. And in a nutshell, the purpose of that transformation is to make standards content fit for the digital era, and therefore this transformation is embedded within standardization organization. So not only CEN, but also CENELEC as well as ISO and IEC. It's embedded towards the concept of smart standards. And today, the purpose of my presentation is to give you an highlight on how standardization organizations are looking closely to what sectors are doing with their own digital transformation journey, and how standardization organization could support them properly on that journey by supporting them properly. So just before going deep dive on that topic, just to tell you that Europe is in a way at the forefront of that digital transformation journey of the standardization, and CEN-TC442 is also at the forefront within the European standardization context, because CEN and CENELEC has already established the possibility for TCs to develop smart standards, and CEN-TC442 is one of the first technical committee that have asked to test and to apply through a authoring tool, dedicated authoring tool, the development of smart standards in order to develop standards content that is going to be more actionable and will facilitate the life of users working with standards. But that smart journey is still at the beginning, and the purpose of that deep dive is to share the experience that we had within AFNOR, because we know that for the construction industry, developing and maintaining properties, as we have seen in the two previous presentations, it's something very important for you. And we were wondering how we can better support TCs and stakeholders in getting the right content through the right format at the right time. So in that context, we have tried to look at what we can do at national level. And we have tried to pilot how a national mirror committee could maintain and develop content within a data dictionary, and what could it mean for a standardization organization to be an operator of a data dictionary, embedding content structure according to BIM standards, and in particular EN ISO 23386 that has been mentioned previously. In that context, semantic interoperability is not yet the focus so far, the strong focus of the digital transformation journey of standardization organization. Therefore, AFNOR has proposed to put that pilot into the ISO and IEC SMART program in order to share that experience and to see if that kind of expectation related to semantic interoperability could come from different countries as well. And the reply was clearly yes. And in that context, after that pilot, we decided to go a step forward and see how, based on that data dictionary, we can support or try to investigate how we can support the establishment of digital product passport. But I will not go into those details today. It will be too much. And if you can, Ursula, we can go to the next slide. So as I mentioned already, in fact, the main learning that we had of those two pilots is that there is a strong need, especially in the construction industry, but not only, to establish a common language in order to ensure semantic interoperability between sectors. And definitely, a lot of content is maintained through standards within standardization, and standardization have to embed genuinely the maintenance of those content into their activity to better support the industry. So it's a strong learning that we had, and now there is not only the construction industry asking for enabling more semantic interoperability thanks to standardization organization, but it's coming from many different sectors and now from also several countries. So it's something very interesting. And that's where we are trying to influence and contribute properly to the different programs at ISO and IEC level and CEN-CENELEC level to embed that need for semantic interoperability and to have it properly tackled by standardization organization as soon as possible. And if you can go to that slide, I guess I have covered most of the content here. You can go to the next slide again, Ursula. Just to give you an opening aspect. Smart standards is really a long journey for standardization organization, but foundations are in place. As you can see on the bottom right of that slide, ISO and IEC has recently released what they are calling a core ontology. So it's basically a data model or an ontology for standards content. And on the top of that slide, you can see that we may have some specific application or business specific declination of that ontology. So it means that, for instance, in the future, we may have a BIM declination aligning with EN ISO 2386, for instance, that could support to genuinely support TCs in producing content that could be directly embedded into a data dictionary according to the different standards that CEN-TC442 is producing. So what I'm saying here that is foundation are there. All the tooling is not there, but using OSD, the online standardization development platform, will be helpful for you because slowly those kind of functionalities are going to be embedded through that platform, and hopefully in the future you will have standardization organization better supporting your daily activities and the digital transformation journey of the construction sector. So I guess I will thank you there, and I will stop here my presentation. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Etienne. So we are arriving to the end of the presentation. You can have some takeaways. Oivind, do you want to take the hand to present this slide?
Yes, maybe some, so yeah, just a short wrap up a little bit about the learn today. To take away, we don't think you will learn everything now, but we hope this can be a start, that you see that the CEN-TC442 are there, and we are able to help you about digitalization. So the building information modeling, BIM, is about transforming data to information, enabling digitalization of the construction industry value chains in the life cycle of an asset. So it's the whole life cycle. And it's not only in the construction phase, but it's the operational phase and so on, demolition and everything, and circular economy, reuse. Data must be structured and managed to become useful information that can be shared and support decision in the whole life cycle of an asset. That is the most important thing here, that we need to structure the way we need. So we need to build a common structure, or very often called ontologies and so on, and also definition, the semantics and everything. We need to align this to make it more easy. And by the end, hopefully, more automatic processes are possible. But if we need to work on these structures, and data, when they are there, they need to be managed and to be in good quality all the time. So in many ways, it's important to remember that 442 is a facilitators. We standardize the methods how data can be exchanged and information managed digitally. The TC themselves must define their own properties, processes, and elements using the 442 methods. And we will give you guidelines to do it. But the properties itself, for example, is not up to. We have 442 have no opinion about the properties. The TC442 will support CEN and CENELEC TC with tools, but TC442 cannot do this alone. So that's important. That. So we ask you all, so many of you, if needed, please be liaison to TC442. You can easily do that, contacting the 442 Secretariat. Also join the work in Working Group 7 and Working Group 12. That could be very useful for many of you, I think. And by the end, we need to digitize together to be more successful. We cannot do this alone, none of us. So yeah, we need to work together on this. So I hope this was something useful for you. I guess I will be not surprised if we will be back with more webinars when we are further down the line. So thank you for participating.
Yes, thank you, Oivind. We have a Q&A time before 11. So please feel free to send us your questions in the chat.
Yes, thank you, Ursula. Many questions have been replied already in the background while the other speakers were speaking. Their colleagues answered. So thank you very much for that. I think it's very helpful so that people have a reply to their answers today. If it's okay, while the other speakers go through the questions and possibly formulate an answer, I would like to launch the feedback poll. It's a short poll with 3 questions. 3 questions that we would like to ask the attendees just to give their feedback on the webinar with the aim of improving our webinars in the future. So if you could take a short moment of your time, that would be helpful. Thank you. I see that, for example, Oivind and Stepanka are typing answers. If you would like to tackle questions orally, please let me know, and we have, of course, indeed still a few minutes to tackle questions during the webinar.
I did push the button that I can answer one of the questions here while the other is answered. Is that okay?
Yes, please, of course.
Yeah, it's the question from Joanna Longo. Do I get it right that this approach is only for construction products, or does it apply to all products? Now, our focus is about the construction ecosystem. Other industries have similar approaches. So, and there is slightly different in the semantics and definition and everything, you know. But we do it the same as I said earlier. We are using generic ICT technology and put it fit for a construction ecosystem. Other industries does the same. And I think the next in the future, this will be more and more in line. And it will be very interesting to see what's happening through the digital product passport and this JTC24, because they need to set up a system that have all these different industries fit together in one with their own ontology, with their own semantic in the different industry to fit together. So that will be quite exciting to follow, and it might bring us even further approach to be more aligned across industries. But today is construction products.
Thank you, Oivind. Do you see any other questions that you think are useful to reply before we wrap up the webinar and close down? Someone is asking about the recording. So as said in the beginning, all the attendees today will receive an email with a link to the recording as well as the presentation. So that will still arrive today. And we will also share the Q&A, but that will take a little bit longer, I suppose. So Q&A will not be shared today, but later on. Thank you. Yes, Oivind, please.
Yes, I can also answer this from Valentina Bisinella. Are you planning to map all the TCs you will have liaison with? That is a little bit complicated for us. So I think it's best that the other TCs contact us. We are always in the process. We discuss this all the time, which TCs we should liaise with. The list is growing all the time, and but we are not able to cover it all. So we will see it in practical. When we need a liaison, we will establish the liaison. But we ask other TC, if you see the need to contact the 442, please do so. But we will not make a list and invite you all. That's I think it's you know best if it's best for you to be connected to 442, I think.
Thank you, Oivind. I would like to remind the attendees that the feedback poll is still open. So if you're still connected, please take a moment to reply to 3 short questions so we can improve our webinars in the future. There is still one question in the inbox. I see that Espen is up too now. We still have 4 minutes. So if someone thinks this should be replied or can be replied right now, please trigger me so we can handle it. If not, let me know and we can close down the webinar here.
While Espen is writing, I think on this question from Coast, now we're starting to a little bit too technical, I guess, to answer that question today. But if Espen or others have an answer, please. But I think this is something we need to come back to in the future. How this should be done.
This is part of the working group 12 that we just have started. So
yeah,
more experts are welcome there. So please join.
Dive into the technical fun stuff. Yeah.
And there is a last question for Etienne, mentioned a core ontology.
Thank you, Ursula. I can reply it directly. Question from Jürgen Weich. Core ontology from ISO and IEC where I can find it. So far, ISO and IEC have only released that core ontology for their members. So it's not publicly available, but hopefully it will change into the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Etienne. Thank you very much, Oivind, for the other questions. That was the last question, so I would like to close down the webinar here. The last slide is showing you some upcoming webinars or events. If you would like to join them, as promised, you will receive the presentation later today. So these are hyperlinks you can click through and register should you be interested to following the events. Thank you very much, all the speakers. Thank you very much, all the attendees. I hope this webinar was useful for you, and I'm wishing you a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.